Let's start to talk about metabolism. We've kind of referred to a few of the, or two of the reactions that you need to know about when it comes to metabolism. So at least some of this material will be a review. We all know that we depend on the sun in order to survive, because if plants were unable to undergo photosynthesis, we would not be here. We eat plants, we eat animals who consume those plants, and therefore we are able to exist. The fancy definition for photosynthesis is listed there. It's a process used by plants to make energy from the sun and to create glucose from carbon dioxide and water. And it is as simple and as complex as that. Make sure that you watch the videos that are posted in this PowerPoint. I am going to say this once. Again, just as a reminder, anything that is in these videos is fair game for the assessments. And a lot of these guys, so watch them. We are going to take macromolecules that we eat and use those to gain nutrients as well as to release energy. You'll remember that when you break chemical bonds, you release energy, and that energy is going to be used for fuel. As we break those bonds during catabolic reactions, the energy is going to be released in a very controlled version of the same process by which wood releases energy when it's burnt in a fire. And wood is actually a carbohydrate. How's that for a fun fact? Both wood and the food we eat have a lot of potential to provide energy when you're breaking those chemical bonds. When wood is burnt in the presence of oxygen, you will break the bonds. What's generated when you're burning wood? Heat and light, steam, and some carbon dioxide, as well as the waste that is known as ash. When you're undergoing metabolic reactions in the body, you are also going to release energy, water, and carbon dioxide. The process is a much slower and more controlled one, however. We need that energy in order for us to grow, as well as repair and replace tissues and undergo metabolic functions. Fuel that we need for energy are glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids. There are some alternative fuels that go hand in hand with nutrition, which include ketones, as well as lactic acid, glycerol, and alcohol. That's an excellent video that's posted there. The sum total of all chemical reactions within the body is known as metabolism. That will include anabolic reactions and catabolic reactions. You will remember that anabolic reactions build larger molecules from small building blocks, and catabolic reactions are the ones that will break those larger molecules down into smaller ones. Energy metabolism is going to include all those reactions and will also include the energy that is going to be spent, obtaining and processing nutrients from what we eat. Because getting that food and processing that food will use energy also. We already know about catabolic and anabolic reactions. Catabolic reactions will break things down. It will occur via the process of hydrolysis. An anabolic reaction will build things up, which will occur via the process of dehydration synthesis. Again, reactions where the cell is using basic units of energy that yield nutrients to build bigger compounds and structures are anabolic reactions. So small molecules are combined to build larger ones, again, by a dehydration synthesis. Can you tell that's important? If you need to know it. Anabolic reactions are going to require energy. Reverse will be catabolic reactions where you're taking those larger molecules and breaking them down into their building blocks. You are releasing energy because you are breaking chemical bonds. And that gives you a nice chart of what is happening with catabolic and anabolic reactions. Do not worry, I will not put this chart on an assessment and say, tell me what step this is. That's just for people who tend to be more visual and like diagrams or pictures. We can actually transfer energy in chemical reactions because if you break a chemical bond, energy is released as heat, or it can be captured in another chemical bond. Most times, both can happen. So you'll simply transfer energy because you're breaking something down and building something else. There are what are known as coupled reactions where you have paired chemical reactions where you're going to get energy released from that catabolic reaction of one compound, and then that energy will be stored in a bond when another compound is created. The energy that we release during catabolic reactions is usually going to be captured in high energy compounds that can transfer that energy pretty easily to other compounds. And the one that we are all most familiar with is ATP, stands for adenine triphosphate. It is the most common high energy compound that you're going to learn about in biology. So it's made up of a purine, which is known as adenine, and a sugar, ribose, 5-carbon sugar, and then 3 phosphate groups, hence the triphosphate. It is, in essence, acting like a rechargeable battery for our cells. In the next section, we're going to take a little bit closer look at ATP and continue on from there.